from town, and the only thing that we had to buy was this guy. So now that can go in. It's, oops, it's 50 thou shorter than that, but it will not make any difference. So I'm going to get started reassembling this thing. Oh, I guess after I clean that mess up. Alright, we'll clean it up and then we'll put it together. I just moved the whole affair outside, a little bit nicer out. Cleaned up the housing and looks like the brushes are okay. So yeah, I'm going to start by, what was I going to do? This. Right, I'll just start with installing that guy the right way in there, and yeah, the whole thing just goes together with a couple of screws once you get everything lined up. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, that seems, I think that's right. I'm going to test fire it here. Hey, come on now. Settle down, okay? Jesus. I'll give her a test fire here, and then if it looks like it's going to work, we'll put it back in. Just set this up at 2 amps, just whatever. Just going to cross that. Okay, so the solenoid works. Okay, I guess it's worth a shot. Okay, it's back in again. So the battery hooked up. Well, let's try it. I need to make some stairs to get into this thing. Ready? Nothing. Well, what the fuck? This is getting old. Ow. Well, I'm going to throw a charger on it before I write the whole job off, but I shorted it with a screwdriver and it cranks right up. So the starter's fixed. The wiring is just really bad. So okay, forgot to hook up another wire there. So the ignition wasn't actually live. That makes a difference. You know, let's see if I can. Sweet. I'm not even going to bother starting it because I don't want to build up any pressure in the system until we fixed all these leaky hoses and seals. Good enough that it turns over. Very happy about that. And not bad for the $5 repair. Oh, I thought I heard it going. Anyway, okay, let's get on to the rest of her. You caught it. What a good girl. Hey, I thought just for laughs we might try to fire this 1950 square. The weather's a little iffy to be up there working on the building today, and so I thought, well, let's see if we can get this thing to go. I don't know anything about this engine. All I know is that it seemed to turn over. I'm hoping that it can be persuaded. Maybe we'll probably just do a light cleaning on the carburetor and ignition. If it weren't a car with so little value, we could probably put back together and use. But nevertheless, I think it might be fun to try and get this thing going. I think it's a This is a Canadian-built car, so it will be a Plymouth drivetrain, 217 cubic inch, flat 6, I believe. Seems to have the Plymouth dashboard in it. So what have you been doing today?
Oh, what the fuck around?
Do you? Have you? Well, looks very typical of this kind of thing. Most importantly, it does seem to all be intact, and other than a few plug wires missing, or at least off, seems to be all there. As a matter of fact, a lot of this car is there. I think that's a Carter B&B or ball and ball style carburetor. We have the weak point there will be the accelerator pump. This looks like an automatic choke setup. Yes, there it is there. So those are usually pretty reliable, and the distributor is very likely going to need cleaning, and so I think we'll start by maybe cleaning this thing up a little bit. She's pretty abandoned. Maybe we'll run an air hose out here and a vacuum cleaner and clean it off real quick. And then we'll see what it's going to take to get it to crank over. I may go to 12 volt just to help it run, and just disconnect the feed to the interior to the gauges so that there's no harm done to anything else on the car. The temp and oil pressure gauges will still work because they're mechanical, and so there's no real harm in unhooking the feed to the interior. And we could probably start it with one of our prefabbed rigs here and run an electric fuel pump. The original fuel pump is down there somewhere, but I think for the purposes of what we're doing here, I will disconnect the both ends of it. And we'll run an electric pump just for reliability, and you never know. We'll start by pulling a few things. Well, you know what, we're going to start by giving it a quick cleanup here, because this doesn't look any fun to work on. If she goes, then maybe we'll have a go at this. It'd be nice to fix this big ding in the back here. It's pushed in pretty good. It would be nice to see that kind of sorted out. So anyhow, lots to do. Okay, that's going to make things a lot nicer to work on. I suppose this will do. Get this out of here. Probably not the best place for an extra fan belt. So, carburetor seems to be all there. Linkage there. This engine, can we see it? I'll try and zoom in. This engine was rebuilt, looks like in 1959. So at some point somebody cared about this thing enough to get the engine redone. Probably nothing since, but let's have a look if there's any oil in it. Yeah, it's definitely low, but it's not milky, so that'll be okay. We'll have to top it up, but if we can avoid pulling the head, then we'll probably have reasonable luck. We have no idea if there's any compression, but can't really, I don't see any evidence of any trauma, so we're just going to go ahead with the assumption that with a light tune-up she would go. I think first thing I will do well, we'll take the air cleaner off and maybe take the top of the carburetor off and see how bad things are in there. If it looks bad, we'll pull the whole thing off and pull it apart. We may do that anyway, just for chuckles. I'm gonna pull the distributor just because it's easier to set them up on the machine than it is playing with it inside the car here. Okay, if we can get this thing running well enough, maybe we can be a fun beater. I'd beat it, but I already got that guy to beat around in, so. Radiator seems good, and honestly, the large majority of the there's some shitty old collision repair been perpetrated in here. I don't know if somebody welded these in when they took there's supposed to be a shield here that's been taken off, so these have been either welded in to replace the shield, or they were welded in before the accident and then cut and re-welded when the accident repair was done. It looks like a very minor accident because they didn't replace the fender. It's just been patched up and repainted, so it has been bumped around, but not too badly. There's the heater fan, the heater core and box in here. Yeah, a lot of this stuff's still very intact on this particular car. Some repairs here and there, but what is this tag? Oh, that's cool. Oh, I'm gonna have to save that. That was probably put on there when the engine was rebuilt, judging by this forward look style emblem here. That's really cool. I'll have to probably take that off so it doesn't get damaged. We'll have to wash that off. I'm not going to scrape it. It's an oil bath. Too many times I've made the mistake of spilling these, so we're not going to do that today. There. Wow, this hasn't been off in a while. Okay. Still. Wow, this is stuck. Yes, no. Close. There we go. Oh, yeah, she's pretty stiff. Oh, well, maybe not. It's not rusted solid anyway. Choke should be closing. Yeah, probably working. Looks like we might have a problem here too. If that was a block heater, a pencil style block heater, we may have that may intrude into the water jacket, so we'll have to check that out. If it's just broken off inside and it's not going to leak, then that's no big deal. Kind of a nice change from some of this shit that ends up here. Yeah, got a little work to do, but we'll get her. Okay. Carburetor come off relatively easily, even though it's a bit of a clearance issue on that side, but we made a little short wrench to get me in there, so that fits between here and here, just to allow me to get it started. I haven't encountered this before, but I've heard of it. There's a lot of oil in that intake manifold. Makes me wonder if somebody at some point cared enough about this car to fill the top of the engine with oil when they shut it off the last time. If that's the case, it's going to make it harder to start. But when it does start, we should get a very spectacular blue cloud out of this thing. We'll hope they don't phone in the bombers. Yeah, I checked it, and it's definitely, well, I wouldn't say definitely, but there's a 90% chance it's engine oil. So since there's no other way for that to get in there other than being poured in, I'm guessing that might be what happened. Anyhow, I'm going to carry on. I did, just to be sure, you can see the engine does turn, and the lower pulley is moving, so it actually kind of bodes well for the overall condition of the engine. It might actually be a very good engine. Let's see if we can get it to go. I'm going to mark the position of the distributor rotor and then just yank the whole thing out of there and assume that I can get it back in the right place. And that's also assuming that it's in the right place now. Probably is, but you know, either way, we'll get it figured out. Looks like a single 7/16 bolt and this line here, and then she'll be in our hands more or less. Oh, the cap is almost new. Crazy. Looks like even the points and stuff are new. Well, I might just try cleaning it because it all seems like it's not in terrible condition. So we'll try just cleaning the points and maybe not take it out. I don't know. The thing is, if you don't take it out, you're never absolutely sure. You're just kind of hoping that it's right. And if we take it out and spin it up on the machine for 5 minutes, then we 100% know that it's right. So I'll probably still pull it, even though it looks pretty good. Yeah, no reason to believe there's going to be any problem with that guy. Well, has some wear and tear on it, but not too much. Okay, well, it all seems to be in good shape. I'm just going to clean it out, get the spiders out of there, and get the points clean. May or may not, well, we'll see. If the vacuum advance still works, we'll hook it up, we'll check it on the machine, and we'll just set the dwell and see that it's advancing at all. We're not gonna be like tuning the shit out of it. Just want to make sure that it's actually functioning. And yeah, that should get it going. I don't see any serious damage on it anywhere, so that's good news. Got the little oil cap there. Right on. Okay, let's get in there. Not going to go any more than we have to here. don't know if we can see that. That is really good news. I've never seen one of those in that kind of condition. It must have been rebuilt at some point. So that bodes well for the rest of it. There's a lot of dried up gas and shit in there though. We'll have a look in a minute. Okay, first glance with the lid off. A little bit of a dried creek bed in there, but again, not terrible. So I'm gonna just grind all that shit up and then we'll blow it out of there, and then we'll clean it with carb cleaner, and then we'll see how bad all the rest of this stuff is. It looks okay so far. I loosened up all the crap in there. I would say that was worth cleaning. Okay, well, away with the beach. And, we'll do a little more thorough job of cleaning it out now that we've got the crusties out of there. So, more good news. When we tried the accelerator pump, you can clearly see working very well. And that's good, because this passageway from there to here can get plugged, and then you have to drill all this out to get it clean again. So that's good. The pump seals really well. It's got excellent action. So good. I'm going to clean the jets and start putting it back together. No reason to believe it shouldn't be fine. We'll blow out the idle circuit, but I'm not even going to disassemble it any further than this. These for cleaning paint guns are actually really handy for this. So paint gun's really very closely related to a carburetor anyway. So clean out these so that we don't have any sticky bullshit. Ooh, that one's a little tight. And with any luck, we'll be onto the distributor pretty quickly here. Well, that's not exactly beautiful, but no reason to believe it won't run now. And if it doesn't, they're not very hard to sort out, these things. Oh, yeah, the idle screw. Better blow that out too. Gonna blow out the idle circuit, and then we're gonna set it to the old 1.5 turns and call her good. Okay, we're back at the old synchrograph here, and so we're going to test we'll set the dwell first, and then we'll just see if it's advancing properly. So dwell, we just need any kind of speed at all. Dwell off. I'll use this thing very rarely. Here we go. Looks pretty close already. I usually go 2/3 of 360 divided by the number of cylinders. In this case, that'd be 30. Sitting at 34, we'll split the difference. And I'm glad we did this, because the points were really, really dirty. So it was a good idea to go in here. Probably would have run with just cleaning the points, but now we know. Let's see if we have any advance. We have to probably turn the lights off, I think. Try it again. Okay, that's at 500 engine RPM. We'll take it up to 2000, and we should see if we got any the mechanical advance here. Engine RPM. Looks like 12 degrees. And looks like it maxes out at about 14. So we can check with the vacuum, although I don't think the vacuum pot is working. We'll give it a try. Yeah, I'm not making any vacuum advance pot on this distributor seems to have failed. So it just means that I will block it off for the purposes of getting the thing running. And if we ever decide to really properly tune it up, it will just have to get a new one. I don't think they're really repairable in any practical sense. So for the purposes of getting this thing to go, it should be fine now. Let's put it all back together. Alright, I'm going to chuck the distributor back in. Got my rotor here. Oops, I had my rotor. Now I've got pieces of the rotor. Okay. Found some boards to sit on. Well, we're mostly good, except that you can see that the rotor just flops around on here. And what I saw hit the ground was this piece here, and it's broken. So I'm assuming this is some kind of a spring to keep this pointed the right way, and it's hatched. And we're either going to have to work around it or find one on a different distributor for now. But meanwhile, I'm just going to hook everything up, and we'll sort that in a minute. I just robbed the cap and rotor from a different car. This, the cap that was on it looks okay, but the carbon thing in the middle there is broken off, so there's no way that it was going to make contact with this. And this, the spring had broken out of the middle of it, so I took the rotor and cap from another flathead Plymouth here, and they're, you know, it's used, but it looks like it's not broken anyway. So we'll try that guy. Now I'll probably pull a plug and find top dead center and see if we can establish that we have the distributor in the right place, and then we will set our firing order from there. Alright, I'm just gonna put the carburetor back on here. Oh, and this is the one you have to do these. They're kind of weird. Very often this bolt on one or both sides is stripped because they will jam against the bottom of the carburetor unless you put them on and work them down with the carb. Certainly on this side, or in this example. Yeah. So this guy, you have to kind of lift up the carburetor, put it in there, and then start the nut and bring the carburetor down as you go. The other one's no problem. I'm not sure if there's supposed to be washers there. Maybe there is, but if there are, they're long gone in this particular case, so we'll just live with it. Has to be fairly tight because it will leak vacuum. Now, put this all together. Should be fairly easy. Okay, choke, same deal. Vacuum to wipers, shouldn't matter. This guy we're going to hook up, and I'm going to block off the vacuum advance of the distributor because the diaphragm is compromised and it'll leak. So let's hook this up, and then we'll get things a little closer. I've got my rig from the Buick Packard setup, so we're gonna bypass the original wiring and start it on 12 volts just so that we have a chance of getting it cranking over. And then once it's warmed up, it could probably go back to the 6-volt system, just hook up the couple wires, and I may even take the ignition apart and key it to fit one of my existing keys. Looks like everything is back on, more or less. I'm going to just test fire it before I bother hooking up the electric fuel pump and such, in case there's some catastrophic failure that I should know about now, instead of spending an hour first and hooking that up. Just because it's kind of a pain in the ass. Nevertheless, we can even gravity feed it for now if we decide to run it. So I've got my switch there. That's switch to turn the ignition on. I've got another switch for a fuel pump, which we're not using, and I've got the button for the starter. So for the purposes of what we're doing here, I'm just gonna go live there and test the starter. See what happens. Just to the original solenoid. Hey, that works really well. Okay, good. So the timing is just set statically to some place near 0, I hope. I haven't really done any actual work there. I figure if we get it to start, then we can play with it. So, as much as I hate just dumping it in there, but I guess I don't hate it that much. I think I'm going to fill the carburetor in case it does start. Okay, here we go. How much battery we got left here, so we're just going to hope for the best, I guess. Okay. Alright, camera battery's dying and the car battery's dying, so I'm going to charge them both and we'll try it again in a few minutes here. Got my rig. My gas pedal. I don't know if I'll be able to film this and do it at the same time. There's just no way. Maybe I can sit in the car and do it. Okay, maybe that'll work. I don't know. Let's just try it. Holy shit. That was close. I'm gonna bump the timing ahead a tiny bit. Just a couple of degrees maybe. See if it makes any difference? I don't know. This battery is such a piece of shit, I just can't really get into it, you know? Well, it smells rich, but that's to be expected. It is rich. Just can't seem to get enough velocity to keep it running. Well, there must be just a lot of, I mean, that was full of old oil and shit, so, I mean, we're close. We're very close there. What? She's going. Sounds awesome. Well, I'll be damned. I didn't think it was ever gonna go. Oh, now it quit. that's it. Sounds good. Sorta. Okay. Oop. All right. Well, that was fun. Boy, that was not easy to get that going. Everything was set up right and it just didn't want to start. But, some milky old gas too, yuck. It sounded like all 6 going. Nothing's hot, but nothing's cold either, so a little blow by. I heard a little rattling there, but I don't know if it's related to anything. It seems okay. Okay. I'm very relieved, honestly, because if this didn't start, it wasn't going to be much of a video. Used up a little more of the day than I expected, so I think we'll have to take it for a drive next time, but no, and I got to dump some oil in it too. Let me do that now. Now that it's cooled off a bit, I just want to see if we can duplicate the starting procedure. It looks like all it really likes is a whole bunch of gas, no choke, no throttle. So I'm just going to pump it a bunch of times and see what happens. So, see the choke is open. So let's just see if you can hear it. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pumps. Coil on. Not bad. Very reliable at this point. As long as it's repeatable, right? That's crazy. Well, decent oil pressure. Still cold. Just bypassed all that. Well, that's great news. Seems to run very well. Just sits there too. I was not expecting it to be that good. Those are all just random old plugs and old wires and everything. Fantastic. Yeah, I hope you guys got a kick out of that one. I've been meaning to get that car running for well, since I got it. Can't believe it's taken, I don't even know how long I've had it. 3, 4, 5 years maybe? 4 years? Yeah, just never had a good opportunity till today, so yeah, right on. I'm really happy to see it going, and just makes all these cars easier to deal with when you can just get in and go. So next we'll sometime in the next little while here, I'm gonna I'll fill it up with put some coolant in it and put the fuel tank somewhere other than on the fender, and we'll go for a drive in it. Thank you guys for watching, and feel free to subscribe to the channel if you like this kind of thing. And if you are subscribed, I would ask that you double check, because YouTube does unsubscribe people for reasons I cannot fathom. But please have a look if you are subscribed. Just double check. And yeah, thank you guys all so much for watching, and hope you're all safe and having a good weekend. Cheers. Well, I gotta go find Frankers. 50 Dodge, yeah, buddy. What's our thumbnail? That? As good as any. Okay, we're back on the Citroen DS. On the Citroen rear fender here, they push onto a peg on the car into a rubber bushing mounted to the fender here, and the rubber bushings over the years dry out and the fenders rattle around, and these are notoriously difficult cars to get to look good, to fit, and so we've bought new rubbers for the thing in the hopes that we can make it fit. So far it looks good, happy with that, and let's put the new rubbers in it, and we'll just chuck it on there just to see where we're at. This all has to come apart again, but sometimes it's fun to just kind of give yourself a little bit of encouragement halfway through a long job by just quickly throwing the pieces on, just so that you can say, yeah, okay, we're going to finish this car. So that was the first light toss, I guess, with paint. Obviously, No latches, nothing's just held on with screwdrivers and stuff. Nothing's adjusted, but it is nice to see it with its final color, and the top is going to be a white, slightly off-white, and then we're going to do the wheels and everything in the nice gray, Citroen gray color. Ghana. It's exciting to see this coming together. It was quite a while ago. It was probably 3 to 4 years ago. We looked at this car in Richards Field. So this is kind of the timeline on this stuff, if it's going to be, if everybody's going to be happy. But sometimes it can get a little bit like endless feeling. So even in this case, because it's a solid color, I can paint half the car and know that if I paint the other half of the car, it's going to be fine. And this is just the first 3 coats on the car, just to get the color even. And now we're going to sand this to get any kind of, just to get the specks off and the orange peel off. And then I'm going to put 2 more coats, probably 2 more fairly wet coats on it. And that we will let dry for several weeks, and then that will get sanded and polished. And this just makes sure that no matter how much we sand and polish the top coat, that it will not get transparent. Learned that the hard way, but this color is really quite forgiving. I could almost have covered in the first coat if I put it on heavy enough. It's a very forgiving color. 3 coats on here, and 2 more on top is going to really guarantee that we'll have exactly the same color. These cars were painted in pieces, kind of, when they were new. The pieces came out and they were put onto the car as we're doing here. So there are no blue parts on the chassis of the car at all. It was just the way they built them. All of the chassis are black, and all of the colored panels just bolt on. So you could really do a color change on one of these cars by just changing the body panels. And you can even change the roof. So if you had one chassis and several sets of body panels, you could change it. That's actually kind of a fun idea. Okay, well, let's have a looky. We were talking earlier about replacing the rubbers, and now that we have to push the adjustment all the way out this way. I fear they may be too tight already, so I will have to do that. But the car looking good and fitting up the way I hoped. That's cool. I'll have to send a picture to Mark. I think he'll be very excited to see. You gonna bring it to me one of these days? I took the Fraser into town today to get the seal for the forklift motor, and it was kind of fun. The traffic is obviously light, and it's kind of, been one of the points of this is that it's kind of fun to use this old stuff just for your daily bullshit, because often, I know in my case, if I didn't drive this stuff for just the daily grind, it would not get used, because I don't really go anywhere. So just kind of fun. And if anybody's wondering how the old canoe is doing, 100%. cold. Warm it up. Oh, nice. Lights dim a bit. It actually blows really, really warm air once you get it warmed up. The heat is quite alarming, but the fan speed is modest. Where's the menace? He's a regular contributor.
Same old shit.